Was it a fold or italics in there? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you start this off. I like what you were just playing, man. Oh yeah, that's I got some more stuff in there that's gonna be right on it.
To the anger is a good part. What pages? Oh.
All right. Come on, you wanna be right there? Beautiful, beautiful. Great rising, great afternoon, great evening. How everybody doing? Beautiful. Good. All right, this is the invisible temple. Though it may be new minds, new beings, this platform, this gathering is the invisible temple. And I like to thank the people who made this possible. Black and Nobel, Sister Lachey, Sister Adrian, Brother Shaquan. They made this time possible. They actually brought me out of a lot to do this. So I like to say thank you to them first. And of course to yourselves for coming out, bringing your time, your energy, your wealth to share with other people and also to receive as you give, right? And that's the whole basis of life, to give and to receive. That's what keeps life moving. So one of the things about the invisible temple, why this gathering came into existence, was to blend art and metaphysics. So also I like to acknowledge that beautiful wave sound. If that was your album, so I want everybody give a. I have to snap and give a hand to that wave. That wasn't her. Well, I've been asking to hear play that. Wow. Well, I look forward to that meditation because I was like, man, if that's her, I'm looking for more of that. That was beautiful. Well, when we get the chance, we'll play it. Hopefully, can we play some before the day is out? Yeah, any of it. I don't care what it is. Because I make meditation albums also. So I look forward to vibing. Yes, please. Even while we talking and building. Like, beautiful. Beautiful. Let's play that sound. So the whole basis of the gathering again is metaphysics and art. So we bring together artists and writers and teachers, speakers, people from all walks to share in this circle. Um, so before we even get into any more metaphysics or any more art, should I say, we want to go over the topic. And the topic is healing. And I brought one of my favorite books in, a book that is connected to this space. There's two books I pulled out that I think I always seem to pull out when I'm ever going through something. And I want to talk with people. 12 Universal Laws of Success and the Four Agreements. These two are bangers and they make me shake when I read them because they put you, the person, in the middle of the healing modal. So I want to start off. Someone read something earlier and I said, wow, when we passed the book around, I'm a firm believer in signs and symbols, and spirit, and I let people actually show. Sometimes you got to let life show energy. And I think the person, when they were reading this book, they pulled out anger. Okay. Now, how many people know what scrying is? I always say in the sessions, in my sessions, I always say, bring a pen and pad. If you don't want, just take some real good mental notes and write down certain things I say because they're keys. Scrying. Scrying is usually you can use it with cards, but a lot of time the original scryers would use notepads, pens, and books. And what happens is you pick a book or you find a book either that you're interested in, or just it can even be a random book, right? And a lot of times you let the pages open itself up. This is something that a lot of bibliophiles, people who collect books, who deal with sacred texts, you actually literally let the book open up to the exact page, and whatever's on that exact page, that's what's coming through. Or if you're using cards, particularly tarot cards some people use, you let the cards actually flip out. If you're using coins, or even if you're just using certain things that someone just said that was random, not controlled. So when this book went around and she picked anger, I said, that's the resonation. It's something that I'm dealing with. Anger. I have no problem saying I deal with anger. Um, and when I read this, I said, yep, I needed to read it. Because it relates to another chapter in this book, one of the four agreements. So I'm going to read anger first. And actually, I'm going to read anger first. And I'm going to read the four agreements. And you'll see why I'm going from one to another. Thank you. Spirit is moving. This is from the book 12 Universal Laws of Success. And also looking at anger, not just from you. Also how anger can be used as a weapon. Triggering. You understand when I say triggering what I mean? When situations are created, environments are created, and sometimes you can be actually targeted to be triggered into anger. So not always just coming from you. So let's let that be said. But also how we react to things. That is the main issue. So I'm just going to read it. Can I read it? All right. And we can add on. This is from page 113. One of the main causes of loss of focus is the emotion of anger. When someone makes you angry, they have taken control of your mind. Being angry means someone else is pulling your strings. Do not give in to the feelings and thoughts of anger. Always be positive. It is difficult to be angry with a smile on your face. When people attempt to make you angry, smile, whistle, and say, ain't it great, fantastic. They may think you're a little strange, but they will carry their negativity elsewhere. To be in control, you must always be positive. Stay as far away from all negativity as possible over the next, this is part of a program, over the next 6 months, and watch the change this brings about in your life. Although you may not be able to control the acts of other people, you can control your own reactions to those acts. In fact, other people cannot take control of your life at all. You must give it to them. If you do not give control over your mind to another person, letting them make you angry, then they have no power over you. He is a fool who cannot be angry, but he is wise. He is a wise man who will not. Okay? True wisdom comes only through self-understanding based on self-discipline. When you have self-discipline, discipline from the outside is unnecessary. You are then your own boss, the captain of your ship. Your own initiative causes you to get a job done or a task completed. So that was a reading based on anger, and I'm connecting that. I'm gonna pass this around to one of the 4 agreements. And when I read this, I'm just sharing my emotion. I'm learning. That's also being truthful, being honest. It makes me look at myself a lot deeper and say, how many things have I destroyed or made harsh or made complicated from my reactions that has nothing to do with me, right? So the second one, the one that is hardest out of this whole book. How you been, brother? It's good to see you, man. He ran into me on the train, the twin. Yeah. He said, yo, I'm gonna try to make it to the next one. So I said, all right. Let's see. Here we go to first agreement, second agreement. The second agreement, don't take anything personally. Page 47. I'm just gonna pass it around. The second agreement. The next 3 agreements are really born from the first agreement. The second agreement is don't take anything personally. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Using an early example, if I see you on the street and I say, hey, you are so stupid, without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. Right? If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe you are stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, how does he know? Is he clairvoyant, or can everybody see how stupid I am? You take it personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you and you are trapped in the dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance. Personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness, because we make the assumption that everything is about me. During the period of our education or our domestication, we learn to take everything personally. We think we are responsible for everything. Me, always me. Nothing other people do is because of you, it is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream and their own mind. They are in completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. Even when a situation seems so personal, even if others insult you directly, it has nothing to do with you. What they say, what they do, and their opinions they give are according to the agreements they have in their own minds. Their point of view comes from all the programming they received during domestication. If someone gives you an opinion and says, hey, you look so fat, don't take it personally, because the truth is that that person is dealing with his or her own feelings, beliefs, and opinions. That person tried to send poison to you, and if you take it personally, then you take that poison and it becomes yours. Taking things personally makes you easy prey for these predators, the black magicians. They can hook you easily with one little opinion and feed you whatever poison they want. And because you take it personally, you eat it up. You eat all their emotional garbage, and now it becomes your garbage. But if you don't take it personally, you are immune in the middle of hell. Immunity to poison in the middle of hell is the gift of this agreement. When you take things personally, then you feel offended. I want to skip around a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm just going to read it. Matter of fact, I can just say it because I know where this is going. And this is what he says. If you take it personally and you eat it and you digest it, then you're making it true. If you are letting it, if it has an emotional effect on you and you start reacting towards it, something in the statement and your own heart must be true. But if you're in your meditation, and this is why daily reflection and meditation is important, anything that is being given from the outside, from a source that has nothing to do with you internally, is projecting. That's in metaphysics, they also call that projection. When people want to project things onto you that aren't real, or feelings. If you take that feeling personally, then there's something connected to you that needs to be looked into. It's not the other person. In some cases, and a lot of cases, should I say. And that's why when you sit and get into yourself, that's why stillness, people start talking about being alone, right? Being alone is not always, I don't want to be around people. I don't want to talk to somebody. I don't like them. That ain't it. Being alone sometimes also is checking your own internal barometer, checking your own internal measurement. You know where I'm coming from? Has nothing to do with the other person. It's about what's going on, but also how am I perceiving? And is that energy where I need to be? Versus it becoming a lash out, because we all have those moments where we lash out, right? Because sometimes we got triggers, we got things that have happened to us, prior things, has nothing to do with that person. But again, daily meditation on self-power, self-beauty, self-love. That helps when someone projects something or throws something, you don't have to take that in. That's just something I wanted to share because that's something I deal with. I'm not gonna play hypocrite right now like something perfected. I've never play that game. I always just reflect and I meditate. But this is one of those meditations. I'm gonna pass this one around. This is one of those meditations where you come to realize you're in control. You know, we live in a world that does constant projection, and we don't understand why. This is something that I come to realize. And maybe I'm wrong. I can be corrected. We are all silently kept in competition with each other. All of us. A comparison? Comparison, right? Which is the seed, which is the beginning. You know, like there's a law of life to say, that says, don't compare yourself to anyone else. You ever heard that before? Compare yourself to no one. And there's a reason for that, because who you are is something unique within your own space and time. And nothing that another person does can equate with what you're here to do. They're here to get and receive what they're here to receive and be in the places that they are in. And you're here for the blessings and the guidance and the strength that you're here for. So when we compare ourselves to other people, we're actually putting ourselves in an illusion, and we're causing ourselves to lose something that does. When I say lose, meaning all the greatness of yourself. You know, it's just like a relationship, men and women, or people, men and women, whoever, in relationships, right? People in general, all forms and signs and ways of relationships. The girl love him, right? Or she love her. Y'all get the point. She love him. She don't like you. You think to get what to get that right there, to get with that person right there, or to achieve that particular position, I need to actually start to be more like them. In certain ways, you start to model yourself after another person and try to mold yourself into them. And then you hit a brick wall, or you go through an emotional turmoil. You say, why am I going through emotional turmoil? Because you felt to be like them. You understand where I'm coming from? So it's a thing where, no, don't compare yourself to anyone, and be mindful of what opinions you taking into your head. In that book, there are 4 agreements. He made a very good statement. He said, "It's your education and your domestication that creates these imbalances in your emotions and your perceptions towards each other." Right? Remember when we talk about competing? What kind of society we live in? A competitive. Let's give it its political name. Thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. Thank you, family. Right? Capitalism. And in capitalism, in a world where we're all running for prestige and money and positions, we will base somebody's importance on what? What they have. And somebody else will look at you on the basis of what you have and what you don't have and call you what? Unimportant. Or won't treat you with the same decency as someone else. These are all the traps. That's poison. And if, as an observer and as children, we take it on. Oh, look at they sneakers. Look what they got. Look what I got now. Look where I'm at now. And we start to pose and the ranking on people. And if you take in those perceptions of what you have and what you don't have, what you look like and what you don't look like, you begin to ingest that poison, like he said, or like the text was saying, right? If you're not careful, you'll actually fall into trap of it. And that's where the peer pressure, right? Peer pressure and all those other things come in. And then that's also where anger happens. Anger comes from what? I can't meet the standards of another what? Person, place, or thing. And that's the control. So self-perception. Clean out your self-perception. Recognize the beauty and the strength of yourself every day. If something don't feel right, it's all right to say, you know what? Slow down and back up. Versus falling deeper into what? Anger. Oh, yeah. And I've been dealing with some deep depression personally. I have no problem talking about it. 6 months, family broke up, all of it. So, rebuilding, still teaching, still taking care of, still loving, still doing everything I have to. And anger really took over me. I have no problem talking about it. And the reason why is because a lot of my identity came from having a family. After a while, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, you start to identify with what you work for and who you take care of every day. That becomes a big part of who you are. And so the opinions that come in for what you don't have and what you do have, what you didn't do and what you haven't done, all that comes down on your head. I'm just talking about my personal. Maybe you can identify, and everybody got their own, right? Sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's children. It could be anything. But whatever you're not living up to, if you're not careful, and I know for me, I got really depressed. I felt less than a man. I felt like I was the villain. None of it really was my fault, and I thought it was me. Things are changing. Interesting. But I realized as I did my meditation, you're always consistent for you. You're always consistent for them. Those opinions have nothing to do with who you are. And in fact, it was the beauty of you being who you were that made all of that happen. So again, self-perception and taking your time, you know? So I read those two. Those are two that I deal with. When I read those two books, those two, one of those, that Four Agreements and 12 Universal Laws, those are the part of the books that stand out for me. Dealing with anger, dealing with self-perception, dealing with self-sabotage. How do we get over it? Meditation and reflection. That's what I find. Anybody can add on. Anybody. Right on. Right on. Please, can you? All right.
How you might want to be, and I'm understanding, but it's kind of hard to be who you want to be or be who people tell you to be in a lot of the situations because it ain't really no book with an index to tell you how to be a man or how to be a big brother to anybody. And a lot of ways that I learned to get better with a lot of conflict I had was with my family. Like, one of the biggest things I might have said that made a bigger impact on how big or how small something is with my sister. I told me and my sister got like a rocky relationship, but I told her I wish me and you had a better relationship. She like, what you mean? I'm like, because we always fighting and stuff, but I wish me and you could be just talk more, just have a better relationship. And she was like, wow. And I'm like, because I feel like it would make me a better man. I feel like it would help me not take care of things better, but communicate a little easier, be a little more open, be able to not be so guarded all the time and showed it up, and be able to not really care what other people think or the perception I can give off. Because when you was talking about people changing who they are, not even that, but sometimes you could be a chameleon. You could be you could be a coon, just to keep it real quick and easy. Like you could be somebody that ain't really real or authentic to what you want to be or how you want to be. Sometimes you just gotta be a walking embodiment of what you think is the best way to be. Sometimes when you gotta fake it till you are it, or you get to a point when you're able to know enough to teach somebody else how to not make a lot of the mistakes and fumbles that you made through your life. And that's all I gotta say.
All right away. Certainly coming into the space, been thinking a lot about interpersonal relationships with Black women in particular, and how the slogan "Black Girl Magic" is all over social media. Behind the keyboards, everybody's like, "Black women, rah rah rah. We love Black women, rah rah rah. Black women, we see you." But then when I'm out in the street, I don't experience that same support. So I'm like, what is it? I mean, are we down for each other, or are we competing with one another? Are we quick to anger? So coming in here, sister coming out of CVS, back almost hit my car. But she was wrong. She was backing. I'm coming in. I can't see that you're coming out. I never in a million years when I'm in a parking space, in a parking facility, outdoor, I never ever ever go in with my headlights to the front. I always back in because it's too small a space, and people coming in can't see that you're coming out. But that's what she did. So the onus was on her. So I'm going by. I didn't even beat my horn because I was able to stop. But I'm looking like, who is doing this? She gets angry with me about it. I'm like, but you're making the mistake. I didn't even go off. I didn't even beat my horn at you because I had enough time to stop. But you realize that you made a mistake and you're looking for me to come at you, but I didn't do that. But you responded to me projecting. You responded to me as if I had done that. It just makes me think all the time. I'm like, I look exactly like you or like someone in your family. Why can't you meet me with love? But I bet you sit at home every day talking about black girl magic and black women support. And I love you, sis. Yeah, sis. Yeah, girl. But in the real world, you don't operate in that way, and it frustrates me. So that's all I want to say.
Yes. I think one of the things I find in the community is also a lot of separation. Um, and people are also lost in what their purposes are. Um, they're really stuck in the ways of the rat race, trying to experience freedom and maneuver the journeys that they're on for themselves and trying to find the boundaries between people and experiences that don't serve them on their higher purposes. Um, I think that within the community, we're looking for spaces where we can actually reach back and actually be a part of something so special in the sense that we're there and we're cultivating these relationships, we're cultivating that network, we're cultivating that peace and sharing the lessons and the knowledge that we need to then grow within our generations, responding to those emotional curses and being the curse breakers of our generations to then make that difference. Um, and I think that's what we're now fighting between, and those are the places that people get lost.
A lot of us are lacking a lot of things. And some of us maybe you didn't have a strong family background. You're kind of angry about that, or maybe or you did know your family, but you're not close with them somehow, or something. There's always something missing. So we kind of like we're looking for a wholeness in our life. So we don't experience that wholeness. We lash out on other people. Some of us, maybe you wanted to have children, something happened, you get your ovary, something, you couldn't have children, or you didn't meet the perfect person, or like there's always some kind of like thing that's not making you feel complete, so you feel angry about that, and you let it out, and how you talk to other people. That's how I feel.
Oh, I got you.
Um, I would say for myself, anger came from the space of like isolation or feeling like I'm being isolated from others, or even if I'm putting myself in my own self isolation, or if I see this cycle repeating and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do about it. Here we go again. And it's the frustration of like not being able to have, I guess, that control within self to do something different or make the change or walk away or not respond in a way where I know I'm about to respond, but I want to get this emotion and this feeling out because it's like, how dare you hurt me? You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I'm still navigating that feeling of anger. Okay.
When you release, do you feel better?
I do.
That's another thing that happens. We don't want to be the angry people. For me, I'm gonna tell you, I try to be as positive as possible. There's times I turn into a real nasty character, or at least I can be sarcastic, right? And but on this other side of it, it's like standard, like how you're feeling right now is not really where you really like to be at as a person, guess what? That release is necessary. And sometimes you can't release it out, right? That's where we go to ourselves. Solitude. But sometimes it's isolation. If we use isolation the proper way, turn into solitude. Things like God, you got this church, you say, God, what do you want me to do? Right? What are you trying to show me? And that's exactly it. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, over a certain period of time, it'll all show itself because you allowed yourself to see it. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to, something I heard, I said, man, she's on it. It's all right. It's like it's all right. If something's bothering you, that's another thing about pain. If you're in pain, it's okay to say, hey, I'm in pain. It's the same thing when we talk about drug abuse, right? If anybody ever had to do, if you ever studied drug abuse before, right? Or if any of us is dealing with it, y'all know that one of the things they teach you, the first thing is to admit, hey, yo, I got a problem, right? Same thing with emotions. I'm sitting here saying, oh no, I ain't depressed. Yes, you are. You would not. You don't want to be depressed. There's something going on inside of you that's causing a certain form of depression. Not recognizing it is not going to heal it. Taking time to let it voice itself and say, what are you showing me? Why do I feel this way? What's going on in me? Even like, okay, somebody said something that was really disrespectful. It's bothering me. One side of it might not be true at all, right? But there's something inside of what was said might be bothering me. That thing is something that you're looking at. But the initial reaction is what? Anger. You gotta be, and sometimes it's all right to distinguish like, yo, was I disrespected or am I just being angry for the sake of just being angry? And it's like balancing those two out. One of the only ways we can do is really get what? Angry, but also quiet.
I say something. Just to piggyback on what he said, also to piggyback on what you spoke on. To piggyback on what Brother Levi just said, and then to piggyback on what you spoke of. Also, everybody's points were very great because I can associate to all of y'all points. My experience with anger, I went on a real angry bin for about 7 years after my mom passed away, dealing with death from two different strong, powerful women in my family bloodline to pass away at the same time, as well as a time for me to become a woman at 21. And my two queens are not by my side because I buried both of them. While I did that, I carried the whole entire funeral on my back. I have family members, I have other aunts, I have uncles, I have a dad. Everybody was so distraught because of their own experiences with dealing with, these two powerful women in our family that are no longer with us. So, me being 21 at that age, I didn't quite understand or know how was I being in position to bury my aunt or my mother when I wasn't prepared for that. I was in a grieving process, still learning what that means naturally, and then being born in Black families, we're not taught or raised on how to properly grieve because we continue to watch the ones who brought us up over the years from his age on up. It gets younger than him. But a lot of our parents and a lot of our ancestors did not know that how we watch them handle anger and how we watch them cope with things that they don't quite understand, we tend to take that into our systems as far as how we learn the process. Oh, I'm just speaking hypothetically myself, but I'm just saying, like, we grow into that mentality of like, oh, if I'm upset, I gotta yell, or if I don't like this, I gotta be rude and ignorant to you about what I don't like. And I feel like a lot of us Black people, we struggle with that as far as communicating. I feel like none of us have that communication tactic down to where we need to have it, because if you think about it, you can't really control what nobody do. I'm a flower by nature. Not to speak on zodiacs, but I carry my sign very highly. I'm a Pisces. So I'm more of an adapter. So I used to go off of like, oh, it's how I'm being treated. So where's the I'll mirror that energy. It took me about 7 years to come up out of that. And that was a deep, dark hole for me to drag my own self out. Because you got to also consider, even with the lady being rude to you, that was her putting her perception onto you. And when people do that to me, because I know what energy I bring out, I'm always calm and settled. But when people start to project what I choose to do, it could come off as sarcasm, but to me, it's the honest goodness truth. I'm going to give it to you. When people act mean and rude and nasty, I might laugh at them because I know what that energy is. And then also calmly tell them, hey, I don't know who bothered you, who got on your nerves this morning. Also, I work in customer service, so you can imagine. But I don't know what happened, who bothered you this morning. All I'm here is to provide my special great energy. You know, I wish you well. I wish you the best of luck throughout your day. Those type of positive words to give back to somebody that's spewing out negativity, it changes their whole diaphragm. They're either going to get upset, like even madder, or they're going to check themselves within the moment. And I've been working on that for like the last 6 years, like just practicing that, and it works. Like, or you remove yourself out of the situation, because a lot of times with my growth and my just developing, like, okay, I hold myself accountable for every way I react. Like, I can't say you are the reason why I'm reacting the way I'm reacting because you yelling at me. I can gain full control over my response. So I feel like, I mean, that's step one as far as everybody just working on that, because a person should never have that much power over you for you to react back to them. The best thing I could say is always speak positive life back into them. And whether they choose to take it or not, they still got to go home with that on their mind. Because best believe it, all of us is programmed to think about our day before we lay our heads down. A lot of people wake up with agendas that we don't know nothing about. That's the most powerful thing, because we are living in the world of spiritual warfare. We know what's going on. Like me today, I know it's a retrograde. So anybody walking around with nasty energy, I'm getting away from you because I can see it. Or I'm going to just, pay attention to it. And just, if I feel the need, just walk up and speak some life, some affirmational words into them. Because everybody has a struggle that they don't know how to come out into the world and express in a positive manner. Huh? I can't hear you. Mercury retrograde in death. It's about the energies. It's about the planets. It's about the shifts that's taking place in the stratosphere. A lot of people don't understand which, huh? Right now, are we in Saturn? What is it? Is it Mercury? Okay, Mercury, Saturn. I understand. Yeah. So we about in 5 right now. Right. Like that.
You mentioned customer service, people being rude. I think there's a lot of reasons people are rude, of course, but I think sometimes we're rude because we think we're beneath like a service worker, somebody who's doing like a bartender or a waitress. We think that we're some kind of like upper class something when we just like regular too. We're on the same level. We think that somebody serving you means they're on a lower level. And I also think a lot of times we have a sense of security from like I got a degree, I got a bachelor's, I got a master's. My parents are this, and we feel a certain sense of security from that. But if you strip away all of that, who are you? You're still just like anybody else. You might think you're better than somebody else because of your background, but we're all human beings. So, yeah.
far as dealing with people perceptions, that's something I'm dealing with now. Being on the block, even being with my brother, being with late 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds, and like certain conversations. Why are we having at this age? You know what I mean? Or certain perceptions about men and how they carry. Why are we having these concepts? You know, you're weird because of this. You dress like this, or you watch this, or you don't carry yourself this way. So like being around people like that you love and you know you grow up with, they good people at heart, but the perceptions that they have in their mind about how a person is supposed to operate, what's weird and what's normal, what is weird and what's normal, who's to say? We're all our own different people, and people appreciate it when it's your uniqueness, when it's beneficial to them, or people play conscious until a real conscious person come around. Now that person is weird. Like, no, I'm not weird. I do this. You know, I'm not. You know, people have a concept of you. All right, we were 15 and all. Yeah, we dealt drugs and all. Yeah, that's not me no more. I'm not a Muslim no more. This is what I do now. The people, oh, you weird, and no, this is what I do. I honor the people that spilled the blood for us here. That's who I honor. Y'all want to deal with that? That's cool. So that turned into anger, and it's like y'all only hear me and y'all only stop when I start yelling and acting crazy. You know, me being little. Now you crazy. You crazy. I was just weird a couple minutes ago though. But when it's beneficial to y'all, I'm the most conscious person in the world. Sit y'all politically incorrect asses down. You know what I mean? Like, what do y'all want? As black men, what do we want? Are we gonna let us be men? Or are we gonna follow? Be a nigga, the white man's niggas. That's essentially what you're telling me, right? Am I right or wrong? You know?
No, that's exactly what's happening, and that's why this circle exists. Give thanks. No, that's why I said that. Now, you know what? Your poem is echoing through. Your poem is echoing through the cosmos, bro. Listen. Give thanks. Yeah. We can always move if we want to move in too. Yeah. Just a little see, I'm glad this knowing the difference between the truth and the illusion. That's the other thing, you know. There's another book I wanted to pull out, and I think we have copies of it. It's an author you should all know about. And I mean, if you ever wanted to know whether something felt very conspiratorial about human behavior and how each of us judge each other, remember, here it is right there, 4 Agreements. When he said, remember, it was your domestication and your education that made you who you are, or at least shaped a lot of your framework of thought, your self-perception. So you're absolutely right. See, in fact, as a statement also you made, you said, I used to be Muslim. I don't think you used to be anything. I think it's just whoever's talking to you. Who you know. See, people have their perception based on how many of the guidelines you meet inside of their rule book. But that's not life. Life is constantly, we all dealing with trying to evolve, to create, to live up to a standard. But the standard gotta be true. Not someone's self-perception. Not someone's personal perception of you. That's going with that, was that the 3rd agreement? You this, you're that, you this, you're that. That was always in a congregation. Now, can we go there for a minute? Because you said something about who are we really being. And a congregation on plantations, whoever ain't going along with the rest of the group for the survival of the group is the problem. That was the way to control the population. And on the other side of it is, that's also the solution to that person's insight and behavior is also insight to the problem that's going on in the population. Not that they're the problem, that there's a deeper problem that everybody's ignoring. And because of fear, here we go. And I pulled it out. I pulled it this. When you said that, I said, oh, he pulled out the page. I'm on page 16. I'm going to read it. Fear. We have been taught, if we don't go along with what's going on with the rest of the masses in the compound, among the rest of the family, rest of the community, rest of the hood, the rest of whoever we's hanging around, something's wrong with us. But then they have all these standards. Notice that barely any of the standards are lived up to. Who lives up to them? But to be with us, you have to look like us, talk like us, and act like us. And then we say we want change. That's not change, it's conformity. Under the guise that I want to survive and prosper. And it ain't prosperity, it's really I'm just living to go along with a flow. So, brother, everybody, like, the truth is always fought against first. Y'all know this. Then after it's fought against, then there's a time of meditation. Then after the time of meditation, then there's the realization. And once the realization comes, that's when it's now recognized as prophecy and revelation. You understand where I'm coming from? So in all sincerity, that's Christ. If you want to use religious terms and symbols, that is prophet, that is goddess, that is God, that is, you understand? When you can think outside of the box that you're in, and almost everything that keeps this world going was produced by people who think outside the box. So what was Prophet Muhammad? You. You understand? Who are the superheroes? Who's the Kalis? You understand? Goddess, the goddess of time, the goddess of change and death, right? Who really are these prophets? It's the people, it's the men, women, people, right? Who learn to think outside the box for the betterment of self and kind. But being brave, and that's what this goes into. Being brave enough to think outside the box. And I read it, you just opened this up. Thank you, bro. And that poem is coming. I know the universe, somebody else with this mic. I'm going to put it on. I think I need to say this. Because it's right. Oh, crap. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Oh. Water. Oh, yeah. Oh. Water is
Me too. Me too.
Say, friends.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to anger for a second. Because Sister Adrian, you brought it up. You brought up the golden part. When you said you greet them with a smile, when you changed the whole frequency by making them reflect upon their own, by just being calm and pleasant, or redirecting the energy, should I say, right? But this is for my man. Page 16, Universal Law. Get away from the crowd at the bottom. One of the most difficult, did you read this before? Mm-hmm. Oh, I do, you know this one. So I'm going to read this for anybody else in the crowd. As soon as you said it, I said, this is page 16. One of the most difficult steps you will face on your success journey is getting away from the crowd at the bottom. There are many unsuccessful, mediocre people who have failed to realize or act on their true potential. If you constantly associate with them, your success journey will be short-lived. You must clear the deck to make room for new associations, which will complement and enhance your success efforts. Once you break away from the mediocre crowd, accept the temporary state of loneliness and prepare for your success. See, the crowd will let you know whether you're on point. You're thinking, oh man, you're thinking different from the crowd, man, but you talking this crazy. And I went through this, and, you know, we go through this in the conscious circles, and like we talk about people sit behind that computer, talking about black girl magic and love black women, right? You know, I'm gonna say, I'll get back to that because I'm really what I'm about to say may trigger some things off, but it has nothing bad and nothing to do with us. But that's the key. When you're doing the right thing and you're constantly getting negative signals, that means it's time not only to get away, but it's also time to refine. When your belief system, whatever you're working on, is making you feel better or healing you, whatever work it is, and you're finding opposition coming from other people, that means it's time to create some boundaries between you and those people. Get away from the crowd at the bottom. The people at the bottom are those who don't want to think outside their confinements. That's the beauty of leadership. That's the real sign of leadership. And leadership is not even telling someone to do something or pointing a direction. It's really about creating a healthy inspiration to all those who you're working with. Not telling people even what to do or what not to do, because that can become something else, right? That can become dictatorship, right? So we're talking about learning how to think free. Every free-thinking person is what made this world anything worth living in. There's a church dedicated, there's a building dedicated to Jesus on every corner of the ghetto. And if we had 1% of the love that the man was talking about, it'd be a different world. It'd be a whole different world, and we know it. Well, what's the one thing that people should learn from the story? That's Jesus and Muhammad, and Buddha and Krishna and Akhenaten and the rest of the family. Like, what was the thing? Difference. Being able to say, hey, I'm all right with questioning reality, or what we perceive as reality. And just because, another thing is we get angry. That's another thing I want to say. Getting angry is staying angry and not understanding why you're angry. That's the real danger. Not anger is a part of the universe, just like happiness. In fact, you can't see happiness without what? Anger. Some of it ain't anger, some of it's self-defense. Especially when you have groups of people around you that make you feel bad or make you feel awkward for being different. But here's the other side of it. You ready? Can I go into metaphysical talk? And it is just some things I picked up. They say in the teachings of reincarnation, be grateful for your enemies. And he said, why? And when I was doing these studies years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, sitting on a rock, reading on reincarnation, out in the wilderness with no job, right? I knew one day it was going to come back. He says, the reason why you want to love your enemies is because they were actually placed here by nature to help you become the character who you're going to become, or who you already are. In fact, they are your greatest partner. The people telling you, hey, everything is good, may not be the greatest partner and friend, because they're not going to tell you where you're wrong. That's the other part about it. We talked about that with the agreements. If something that's being said is hurting you, it's time for a reflection. If something's being said is angering, is there some truth being said? Here's the truth. You see the change and you see the importance of standing on your own, regardless of not letting anyone else affect. They're saying, okay, yeah, but we are part of the collective, right? When they see you get angry, you know what? That's empowering. Well, when you reflect back and say, they're wrong, and I'm going to work on myself, now you gain strength. It's just like making music. Now, let me give an example. You make a track, right? You know about this. If you're an artist or anything, I ain't like that, Joe, man. That joint whack. Then at first, you're like, you know what? And then you start feeling some type of way. You say, but if I'm feeling some type of way, you listen again. Ah, that's why I felt that way. Because I knew that I did something in this track. That's cool. You go off, you sit down and meditate on it, you come back, whoa, Jesus did it. Muhammad did it. I keep bringing them names up, but I'm only using it for symbols. Please, I'm not endorsing anybody to believe anything. I'm just using symbols. How did Jesus do it? Jesus did it when he went to his cousin and said, hey, yo, man, I'm jacked up. I'm ready to start my ministry. I got a whole lot I'm dealing with. What did he say to him? He said, time to fast, Christ. Time to fast, Joshua. It's time to get everything that's in your mind and your heart out of you. Stop eating. Go up there on that hill right there and chill for a couple of days. We'll put you in this water, bring you out. You go up there and sit by yourself. Who came to him? And the devil, and we would love to say the devil, right? and right. The lower self spoke to him and the higher self spoke to him. The lower self said, hey, yo, you bomb, bro. Look how fast you thinking, how much talent you got. Man, go down to Judea and get some money, get some women, bro. What you doing? And then the other there said to him, oh yeah, you the bomb, but taking that type of mentality won't get you hurt. You better stick to what I gave you, right? So there it was. The greatest among us, do you have a difference inside of you? Getting by yourself is key. You're receiving it when you can speak it out loud. Some other people don't got the bravery to say it out loud. So if there's something bothering us, all we do is go what? Meditate on it. Let the answers come. See what I'm saying? So sometimes when you're that divine rebellious spirit, don't think you're not wrong. Sometimes it is something that you not see, and that's another thing about people and their nasty statements. Sometimes it might be truth to them. Oh yeah, see, I told you. They be like, okay. A day later, to come back. Oh wow, you was right. You was right. What happened? Circumstance change. See? Also changes happen with us. Some of this oppositional energy is showing us things about ourselves. Do you give too much? Do you care too much? Do you care to the point where you're making yourself sick? See? Have their reflection about what is a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, a woman, a man, or whatever, has that gotten too rehearsed and spoken? Yeah. Because you ask any of them, who believed in Muhammad when he came off the mountain? 2 people. And that was just a matter of a conversation. His wife and a young man. 2 people. See my point? Christ. Oh yeah, I came to heal people. He didn't say it out of his mouth, he just what? Did it. And so when he started sharing knowledge, it was like, oh man, you tripping. You calling yourself the son of God, you out of your mind. But when he did it, it was like, hey! So again, sometimes we just have to get what? Silent. Remember I was talking about anger? There's no such thing as righteous anger, right? What's the word for it? There's a word. Passion.
Indignation.
Righteous indignation, right. And that is meaning that you're very truthful and you're very on point, but to the point where it's unbearable for the masses. Because remember, you're asking them to let go of something that you already prepared to let what? Let go of. They ain't let go yet. They didn't unplug yet. Uh-oh. Matrix, right? They didn't unplug yet. So you remember, sometimes you're speaking from up here to a person that's thinking right here. So their reflections to us too, that's something else. I just wanted to put that out there. Their reflections to us sometimes is showing us something that we overlook. Like, why the system got such a, they don't know none of them people. And we right here with you every day and you don't even hear me. It's a program. What can we do to change it? Be the best person we are for us. This time right here, we need it. I can admit I've been angry and it has been destructive. And I've been angry at people in this, like, not angry, let me say, I've been a little off kilter, I won't say angry, about certain things emotionally in my life. And I let it slip into other parts of my life. But it's okay, reflect on it and just do what? Better.